So here we are again. This is wedding photography. This is Business 2 in the series of wedding videos I'm doing. Business 2. So in Business 1 we talked about the market, what the opportunity was, prices, market share, about the importance of matching what you offer to what the clients want, and how it's important to identify that. And today we're going to take that a step further. Oh, sorry, we also talked about the basic sort of requirements before you even do your first wedding. If you're intending to do more than one wedding, website, Facebook page, and so on and so forth. We're going to go a bit further into that today, and we'll talk again in a bit more depth about the basics, what you need before you do your wedding, but also how to get your first wedding, hopefully, possibly, fingers crossed, and how to then build on that and take it further, and what you need if you're going to move your business forward. I made a mistake, I'm sure like many people, when I first started doing weddings, and the sun's... Why does this happen? I set the exposure and the sun comes out, or I set it and the sun goes in. I'm sorry. I haven't got it on auto, because then every time I move, the exposure changes. You can't win, can you? I'm sorry. So, and I've lost the thread of what I was going to say now. So, sorry. Let's get started. What you need before you... Sorry, it's come back to me now. I was talking about me, wasn't I? When I first got started, as I say, like most people in business, I didn't look far enough into the future. And one of the things that I really failed at was keeping track of inquiries, following up with people, knowing what I'd said to them 2 weeks ago, a month ago, because sometimes people phone up, "Hi there, Alan. Yeah, we spoke a couple of months ago. Did we?" And you're frantically going through record cards or looking through a spreadsheet or through a book or something, and that just didn't work. And I probably lost quite a bit of business by that. So we're going to talk about a way of keeping track of inquiries, bookings, and so on and so forth, so that you're as efficient as possible, and that you don't go and lose those precious bookings. And believe me, it's easy to lose them. So let's get started. Website. I'm going to switch over to the screen in a second, and we'll look at my website. Not because it's a shining example of a fantastic website. Going back to what I said in the previous business video, you need to match what you're offering to your, I was going to say ideal client. I hate that term. To most of the people that are actually going to end up booking you, whoever they are. So remember, if you're starting out, you're probably not going to be booking a wedding at some grand palace 500 miles away. You're probably going to be doing a local registry office, and I'm talking about here in the UK, of course, might be slightly different in America. Your local registry office, and then off to the village hall for a couple of hours afterwards, that kind of thing. So there, in the beginning, the people you need to appeal to. It's pointless having a super duper absolutely brilliant website with fantastic photos on, taken in Dubai or in some grand hotel in London. I'm not sure how you'd get those photos, but say you could, and having a website like that, if you're actually aiming at people way down lower in the scale of things, because those people will be put off just as much by seeing a website that is totally out of sync with who they are, as someone at the top end seeing a scruffy looking rubbish website. So you need to match your website, the look and feel, not just the prices, but the whole style of who you are, what you're presenting, who you come across as, what you're going to offer. All of that needs to be specific to your audience that you're trying to get to book you. So that doesn't mean you need the best. It doesn't mean you need to spend an absolute fortune on a website. I, over the years, have gone from WordPress websites through, I think I used GoDaddy for a bit, and then on to Wix. And I now use Wix websites. Not that I'm recommending them particularly, but they work okay. And as for what the website should look like, should it be a lot of text and not many photos? Should it be one page, 20 pages? Should it have loads and loads of photos and very little text? I'm sorry, I don't have an answer, and I'll be honest, and I don't think anyone has an answer. To try and pin down what website works best is obviously a very long-term exercise, because what works best is the website that gets you the most bookings. And bearing in mind that you're only going to be getting, I mean, I get 40 bookings a year, but statistically that's a pretty small number to be judging whether a website works or doesn't work. So you've got to be waiting from one year to the next, and of course from one year to the next you're dealing with a totally different group of people, hopefully the same type of people, the same price band and expectations and all that kind of thing, but literally different people, and their views might be somewhat different to those last year. So coming up with the perfect website is just a pointless exercise. It is never going to work. Yes, there are some basic rules that you want to follow, and there's many other people out there who are much better at website design and that sort of thing than me. Have a look at other people's websites around where you are. Look at your price band, look at their websites, those that come up top in Google. They come up top in Google for a reason, and that's SEO, and that's always a good thing to have, and to rank highly in Google is great, because you will get people visit your page without paying anything. And the odd one or two will make an inquiry, and the odd one or two will make a booking. We'll get on to more about marketing probably in the next business video. But I'm harping on a lot about the website because it's the only way you have of making someone take that next step. They can do lots of research, they can get online, Google things, they can look at wedding websites, get recommendations there, they can look on Facebook, etc, etc. And at some point they will hit your website, and that is either going to be the end of the road, you're not on the possible list, or you get on the possible list and at some point they make a contact with you. So it really is absolutely crucial. I've put the link to my website down below so you can take a look at mine. As I say, don't use it as an example of a wonderful website. It works well enough for me to get me 40 weddings a year here in the UK for the people that I'm trying to get weddings from. But there are other things that you need, and before we get onto my screen, let's just talk about those briefly. Facebook. Yep, you need a Facebook page. We'll look at that at mine. It kind of serves a purpose. If you're going to run ads on Facebook, which we'll talk about, they're probably going to look at your Facebook page to get an idea of who you are. So it needs to convey, again, the right feel, the right style, and so on, to appeal to the people that you want to appeal to. I post on my Facebook page probably once a week. That's probably all I do. By the way, you might read about and hear about blogs, blog posts. Years ago, blogging used to be a way to increase your search engine optimization, get more people to your website. I'm not an expert, but it doesn't seem to make a huge difference. I do probably one a month on my website, and other things. I've got a Google account. You should be on Google Maps, and you can do posts related to your business, your Google business, and that again might help a little bit. And it's all a little bit. which is why I'm so pissed off with these adverts that come up and say, do this Instagram advertising program and, you know, solve all your problems. Rubbish. Marketing is about all little tiny bits and pieces here and there, each of them making 1 or 2% difference to the overall package that you're offering people, the way it all works, and it takes a long time. I reckon from the day you start, it's going to be 2 years before you get kind of 90% of the way there. And then it's going to take another 4 or 5 years to get that last 10%. It really is a slow process getting backlinks to your website. You cannot go out these days and buy backlinks or anything. You've got to develop them organically. It just takes a long time. So, as I said right in the beginning in the introductory video, don't expect your wedding business to be something that's going to pay the bills this year. It's going to be not next year, it's probably going to be the year after. So, website, Facebook. And I mentioned about keeping track of leads and inquiries and that sort of thing. We'll look at what I use to do that just very briefly. Again, I don't get anything out of this, but it works. And I just want to pass on to you stuff that works. One of the biggest problems, and I haven't really solved this one yet, but up front, let me tell you, it's a problem, and that's communication. Back in the day, when I was a bit bigger than that, if you wanted to book a wedding photographer, if you wanted to find a plumber, if you wanted to buy a new car, if you wanted to sell your house, I haven't even got one. You picked up the phone and you called someone and you spoke to them and you said things and they wrote things down and you wrote things down. Job done. Well, job done to the next phone call anyway. Doesn't happen now. And if someone called you and said, I spoke to you 2 months ago, you've probably got a fairly straightforward system, either based on 2 months ago and you just look back in your diary, or you'd have some sort of fairly simple, straightforward system to keep track of who'd called you, what you'd said to them. Now, you'll get contacts from text, Facebook text, Instagram messages, Facebook messages, both on your personal account and on your business account. You've got emails, and I've got more than one email address, so you'll get emails to any of those addresses. Chat on your website, and probably others. Oh, WhatsApp. So when someone says, I contacted you 2 months ago, where do you start looking? And I probably spend in total, I'll probably spend on average an hour a day trying to find where and how I originally spoke to this person, what I said to them and so forth, even with the thing I'm going to show you to try and keep track of stuff. Communications these days is a complete nightmare. An email, I send email and it's not a cold email, it's to someone that we've been communicating before. I'll send an email and I think, right, they'll get back to me in a day or two, and a week later they haven't, and I now send them a text to try and they say, no, never got an email, no, didn't go to spam. So it's hard work, and keeping on top of that is a problem, but it can, you know, it's obviously something you've just got to get used to. Right, let's jump into my screen and let me show you. Okay guys, right, here's my screen. Let's have a look first of all at my website. Right, let's have a look at my homepage on my website. Obviously, as I say, I've given you the link for this. You can take a look. I try and come across on my website as fairly stylish, elegant, but with a hint of, but not too serious. is the impression, the kind of thing I want to come across as. I do like to put a photo of me on there, just so that when we meet up for a coffee or something, they know who the heck they're going to be looking for to try and meet up, because I probably don't know what they look like. And I've tried to make the website, this front page anyway, look, well, yeah. I've over the years I've changed it many times, but to try and make it look smart casual, smart elegant, is the best way I can try and describe it. You can click on the link and go through the functionality. These take you to various different weddings and so on and so forth. I'll mention my packages, but not in detail, but you can click on those if you want to find out more about the packages and that sort of thing. And you can click on here if you want to get to actually contact me. I've got a chat box here. So it's as easy as I can make it for people to get in touch with me, and it's not that long a page that they're going to get bored reading it, I hope. And then of course I've got the other things. We've got there's a page about my style, my packages, obviously, bridal boudoir, why me, gallery looks like this. Again, it's not, I could change the photos, and I could go for all these sort of black and white, really sort of elegant shots like that. But that's not totally who I am. Hopefully I've got one or two more slightly more fun ones, like this one. First dance one there with Dad. So confetti. So trying not to be too serious. Nice fun confetti run there. Candid documentary type black and white one there. Bit of fun there. So I try and sort of throw in a bit of fun. That's who I want to be, and I think it's important that your gallery or your portfolio reflects who the person is you're trying to appeal to. So I'll leave that for you to have a look at if you want to. And of course, if you want to get the course, rather than just these 3 videos, there's a heck of a lot more information in the course, and you can get the course here. Right, I won't bore you with that. Right, now Facebook, we mentioned Facebook here. I'll come back to that. So my website, my Facebook looks like this, and I really ought to change that cover photo. That's been up there for a good couple of months. 571 followers. Recent photos. Last post was the 3rd of May, and today is the 15th of May. Excuse me. So a couple of weeks since I've done a post, and the one before that was the 1st of May, so that was 2 weeks. And the one before that was goodness knows when, the 23rd of April. So it was about every 2 weeks I'm doing a post. Probably should be more. But what you need to do, you probably already know this, but let me just say, when you do a post, you want as many people to see that post as possible. As many of the right people to see that as possible. So you can either boost the post, which you're going to have to pay for, which does work, and also paid ads and that sort of thing, and we'll cover that probably in the next business video. But one of the things you can do is share this, and if you share it with the right groups, you can click on the group, and these are my groups, the groups that I'm a member of, and I've got some local groups. So my Norfolk Wedding, Wedding Suppliers Essex, Wedding Suppliers Suffolk, and so on and so forth. These are groups which, if a bride goes on Facebook and they're looking for a wedding photographer, where would they go to on Facebook? So if they live in Essex, they might find this group. They might put a post on there, but also while they're there, they'll probably have a scroll through and just see if there's anything interesting about wedding photographers on there. And guess what? If your post that you've just done and you've now shared to that group is in the top, 6, 10 posts, they might see your post. You might get some business. And if you share it with half a dozen groups, and these groups have got several thousand people in, then it's possible that someone's going to get in touch with you. And it certainly happens. I do absolutely get weddings booked that way. Just mention, give some thought to when your prospective bride is going to visit this group. Is it going to be 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or 8 o'clock in the evening? My research shows it's more likely to be 8 o'clock in the evening. She's in from work, she's done tea, she's had dinner, if they've got kids, she's put the kids to bed, sat down with a cup of coffee, put her feet up, and now going to catch up on Facebook. So around about sort of early mid-evening time is the best time, I think, to share these sort of posts, because then they're at the top of the list of posts, not buried under the 10 posts that have been put on there after yours. So that's that. You can obviously boost the posts. As I say, we'll deal with advertising next time. Now what else? Oh, obviously I was saying about different ways of people can get in touch with you. We've got the Facebook. Now that needs to be a page, not your personal page, a business page, of course. Then you'll get Meta Business Suite, and you'll get messages there. I've got messages on my website there. So I've got my text messages here. So it's all over the place, and obviously I've got emails all over the place as well. So to keep track of that, I use something called Light Blue, which is this, which today tells me I need to get in touch with Ben, Georgie, Holly Gorman, and someone is going to call me. Tomorrow I need to get in touch with Amy. I haven't updated that because Amy's actually booked me now. Arrange a coffee with these people, and so on and so forth. It's absolutely essential to have something like this to keep on top of your inquiries, what you've said to people, because otherwise you'll end up paying for adverts, getting inquiries and losing them simply because you can't keep up with who said what, who you need to follow up with, and so on. Okay, so let's just talk about, we'll finish off with one of the ways that I got my first wedding. Back in whenever it was I started, 2013, very briefly, my daughter got married the year before, towards the end of 2012. I hadn't photographed her wedding. I'd paid for a wedding photographer, total disaster. Got to 2013 and thought, I can do better than this. So I created a website. Back then it was just a WordPress website, very, very simple, probably about 4 pages, and created this Facebook page and ran an ad. And the ad said something like, I haven't got one now because I don't do them, but the ad said something like 2 free engagement shoots available. Let me switch back to the screen. Let me just finish this. So yeah, run a Facebook ad saying something like 2 free engagement shoots for couples that got married that got engaged in the last few months, are getting married 2024, 2025, whatever you want to pick as your time. Just 2 available, completely free, within 30, 40 miles of a particular place where you live. I mean, you can even limit it further, and actually this can be good. Limit it to a specific place and a choice of days. Get in touch with me if you can make it to so-and-so park on Saturday morning, the 26th of June or something like that, and we'll do a free engagement shoot. I'll give you 30 images, no obligation, that kind of thing. That's the sort of ad that I ran when I first first wanted to do a wedding, and that led on to my first wedding. Someone got in touch. They actually didn't do the engagement shoot. They just saw the ad, got in touch with me and said, "You photograph weddings?" Yeah, of course I do. I'd never done one. Right, okay, we're getting married in Bury St Edmunds, which is my local town. Blah blah blah. Got booked. It was just the ceremony. I turned up half an hour before, got the people arriving. I think it was only about 20 guests there. Went across the road to Abbey Gardens. Did a few group and family photos and a couple of shots there, and that was it. I was done. That was my first wedding. So running an ad like that is a way to get started. You can do posts, you can do family shoots, which, if I haven't already mentioned, doing other shoots, model shoots, family shoots, headshots, anything else that gets you photos you can put on your website and kind of pretend they were at a wedding, if you can. It's going to help you, and it's going to give you experience and knowledge, and it's just a really good thing to do. And basically anything to get yourself out there, meeting people, talking to people, saying you're a wedding photographer. Oh, my sister's getting married next year. Don't think she's got a photographer yet. That kind of thing. Of course, that's sort of a fairly low-key kind of way to advertise your business, to get business. The more direct, full-on approach using a proper Facebook ad we'll go through next time. One more thing you can do when you get started, and I should have shown you when I was on the screen, but let me just explain. List yourself on every free wedding website you can find in your country, basically. Here in the UK, I'm listed with Redison, Masters of Wedding Photography, the International Society of Professional Wedding Photographers or something. This is Reportage, and probably about 10 or 12 others. I've put my profile on there. I've put what I do, what my packages are. I've put as many photos as I can on there. And something that's worth doing, if you put a photo onto someone else's website, if you can put, and if you don't know what this is, look it up, if you can put an alt tag on that photo, many of the websites don't let you, but if you can, that then relates back to you, then that will get you some backlinks to help you with SEO. Obviously, when you put your profile on these websites, you've got a link back to your website. So again, from an SEO point of view, it really helps. Do it. Most of them do free listings. A couple don't, but most of them do free listings. But of course, you'll then get bombarded with emails for you to upgrade and start paying. There are a few that are worth paying for. And I'm not really going to give you any advice on that, because it's going to depend not just what country you're in, but whereabouts in the country you live. And it changes. 1 year, this website might be, I don't know, they might have a really good advertising guy who does loads, who runs lots of ads on Facebook, on Google Ads, and gets a lot of business to their website, which in turn gets people seeing your entry, which gets you inquiries. And it changes from time to time. It's always up and down all over the place. I can't give you any hard and fast list of this is the ones to do, this is the top 10, do them in this sequence or anything like that. Do some research. Pretend you're a bride. Get online. What are the websites that brides might be visiting? Get yourself on there with a free listing to start with. And final word, when it comes to paying for any sort of advertising, let me tell you what, in my experience, does not work, and I do not do these any longer, and that is magazine advertising, both real proper print copies and also online magazines. I may have booked 1 or 2 weddings from them, but the amount of money I've spent to get those 1 or 2 bookings, it just doesn't justify it. They don't work. Wedding fairs, you can get lucky. Most of the time you'll get unlucky. I did one, and I promise it's the last one I'm going to do. I did one about 6 weeks ago. We had probably 25, maybe even 30 couples come through the door. I spoke probably, in fact, I gave away, I had sort of little brochures, I gave away 15 brochures. I'm still waiting for someone to come back and even make an inquiry, let alone book me. So they are not cheap, they take a lot of work, and the return, in my experience, just isn't worth it. So that's the worst ones. At the top, we've got, well, Facebook ads come and go. Sometimes they work brilliantly, sometimes they're bomb. Again, there's no way of knowing, but you don't have to spend a fortune to find out. Google ads, I run Google ads. I've run Google ads now for probably 6 years without stopping. They just run along, they tick over in the background. I probably spend £30 to £40 a month on Google ads for specific keywords. Over the years, months, I've eliminated all the keywords which Google wants me to pay for, that I don't want to pay for. So it's now a very, very specific ad campaign, keywords campaign, and yeah, I think it certainly pays for itself, put it that way. So they're the top two, followed very closely by choosing one or two of these wedding websites and actually subscribing, paying to get higher up the listings, and that is it as far as advertising goes. Now, there's obviously lots of other things you can still do. You can do bridal shoots, you can get in touch with every venue you can possibly think of and just see if you could become a recommended supplier. It's very unlikely in the early years, let alone days. I think it probably took me 4 or 5 years before I became a recommended supplier for a venue. I think I'm now a recommended supplier for 5 or 6. Again, I'm sorry, you think that would be the answer to all your problems? It's not. I recently booked, on Sunday, 3 days ago, went to do a consultation with someone who saw me, who saw that I was the recommended supplier for Ravenwood Hall, just up the road from me, and that is the first one I've had probably for 6 months. It's not gonna make you busy. Again, I come back to this thing where you see this stuff on Facebook and online, do this Facebook campaign and book 20 weddings. It won't work. You've got to do all of this stuff and they'll just trickle through and give you little bits here and there, and eventually you've got enough little bits to make a decent business. I'm sorry to be a bit depressing. I think that's how I've come across. I don't mean to be. I just want to be realistic. It's bloody hard work, okay? It's worth doing because the day you pack all your camera gear up and you go off in your car to a wedding, it's all worth it. But there are days when you just want to switch the computer off and forget all about advertising and weddings, and if only you could. You can't, obviously. And I wish I could say, here's the answer, here is the simple solution. It does not exist, and do not waste your time, effort and money trying to find it. There is no simple one solution. You have to do all of this stuff. So watch these videos. I will cover everything, probably not in enough detail to actually do it, but if you want to do lots of research and experimentation, you can probably find out. If you want to do a shortcut, obviously, think about maybe buying the course, because I do cover everything in a lot more detail there. Okay, I've waffled on for long enough. Thank you for sticking with me. I'll be back in the next video. We'll be looking at photography again. So join me for that in a few days or a week or so's time. Thanks for watching.